Hello, and welcome to Turn to Your Doom, a choose-your-own-adventure podcast where we follow the many paths and meet the many ends of choose-your-own-adventure books. I am Faith, and with me today to read the other half of The Warlock and the Unicorn by Deborah Lerme Goodman is Art. What's up?
Hi.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling okay, but I do see a purple tornado happening. I wonder what happens if I jump in it. No? Probably gonna be fun, right?
I told my mom about that. She's like, this is the funniest thing I've ever heard of.
It is so fun.
It is so funny. It's like 20 words to describe how you explode. God. Yeah, we're gonna be doing, well, there's technically 3 distinct trees. We're gonna be doing one of them. We did the one side where we decided to go deal directly with the Warlock. And today we're going to do the other side where we decide to actually search for a silver unicorn. Which is funny after we read the other half where, the sister of the Warlock is straight up like, you fucking idiot, there is no silver unicorn.
Yeah, let's look for a silver unicorn.
Okay.
Wait. Wasn't the unicorn described as... No, never mind. I'm putting false memory. It's like, I thought the unicorn was already silvery.
No, they're like white and like pearlescent.
I don't know, I feel like that's pretty close to being silver. Or silvery.
Kinda. Anyways, yeah, so last time we took the path where we decided to deal with the magical manlet directly, and instead this time we're going to take the path where we just go look for a silver unicorn.
Okay, real quick, about the magical manlet, aka the Warlock. Do you think it's a situation where, like, if he just had, like, more family support and, like, a support network, he would have been an okay person? Because, like, I see glimpses of humanity.
100%. Yeah. Like, he, in a couple of those endings where you, like, just talk to him, he, like, almost seems like he could be a good guy.
He doesn't seem, like, completely, like, irredeemable. Like, it just sounds like he had a bad family life and no friends. And, like, if he just had a couple of friends, he would be okay.
Yeah. Because he, like, in the endings where you're like, do you want to be my friend? He's straight up like, okay. No hesitation.
Yeah. And, like, he seems to be, like, pretty chill with, like, just randomly just walking somewhere with a friend.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think he might have actually reversed the winter spell if someone didn't throw rocks at him.
Oh god, that one ending, yeah. Well, we already know the people in your village are the worst in these books.
Oh yeah, the people they are awful.
The worst. Alright. Well, let's just go directly looking for this unicorn. If you need a refresher, your village is stuck in a never-ending winter, and it sucks. And you're running out of food, and your old lady friend is not doing so hot, so you want to end it. Because she's the only decent person here. So
yeah, I feel like it's rude to, like, automatically be like, hey, you do it. Like,
yeah, your whole village is like, hey, you should go take care. You found a unicorn before, you can find another one, right? And you're like, there's like a what?
That's supposed to be a once-in-a-lifetime thing.
Yeah. What if you go do it? Fuck. Alright. So if we do decide to go look for the unicorn, we end up on page 6. We're back at the beginning, baby. I'm good at finding unicorns, you say. I'm going to look for one, and we can worry about the Warlock after he puts an end to this winter. Now tell me, what do you know about silver unicorns? Marie Claire shakes her head. I'm not convinced such a thing exists. However, if silver unicorns do live in Flanders, don't you think the Duke might have one? Maybe, you agree. But if the Duke has a silver unicorn, why wouldn't he have offered it to the Warlock already? Who knows where the Duke is now? He's always traveling from one castle to another. It might not still be winter where he is. You wrap your hands around your cup, trying to warm them. That's true. But if he's always traveling, how can I find him? I have another idea. I might be able to learn more about a silver unicorn from a regular unicorn. That's a thought, but it's not as if anyone has found a regular unicorn lately, either, says Marie Claire. No matter what you decide, it won't be easy, and your chance of success is small. Which possibility excites you more? If you decide to see if the Duke has a silver unicorn, turn to page 10. If you decide to get help from a regular unicorn, turn to page 12.
What? Okay, well, okay, let's see if a regular unicorn would help.
Okay.
You know that thing that we had a whole book about finding, and now it's just... I guess this is kind of like how, like, you get, like, a mystical power in one video game, and then it's just, like, the part of your normal power set in the next one.
Yeah.
Type thing, but, like...
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'd rather talk to a unicorn than a rich person anyways.
Yeah.
I'm going to look for a regular unicorn, you announce. First of all, it may lead to a silver unicorn. If it doesn't, maybe we could figure out a way to turn it silver. Marie Claire nods her head. Yes, that's not a bad idea. People say the sorceress has some spells of silver. If you do find a unicorn, she might be able to turn it silver. She stands and wraps a scarf around you. Don't get too cold. And then you begin stomping through the snow forest. There's no way to avoid being cold. Your nose and fingertips feel like needles of ice are pricking them. However, walking in the snow takes a lot of effort. By the time you reach the birch grove, you hardly feel cold at all. You pause to admire the sunlight glistening on each ice-coated branch. You watch squirrels chasing each other from one tree to another, but then you hear a whimpering sound. As you look around for where the cries are coming from, you hear another sound, the flapping of many wings. You turn your face to the sky, and in time to see dozens of silvery birds fly overhead. You've never seen birds like this. You wonder where they're going. Could there be a silver unicorn where silver birds nest? You are just about to follow the flying birds when you again hear the heartbreaking cries of an animal in pain. Can you ignore the suffering to follow the silver birds? If you decide to find the creature that is crying, turn to page 36. If you decide to follow the silver birds, turn to page 44.
Okay, so silver birds equals silver things, which equals silver unicorn. Obviously.
Yeah, that's
how math works, right?
That's the logic, yep.
I mean, I'm gonna help the animal. It's hard for me not to.
Yeah. So, page 36. You listen carefully to the soft whimpers and walk in that direction. Not far away, you come to a young unicorn with its leg caught in a trap. You want to throw your arms around the poor creature, but are careful not to scare it. Approaching slowly, you speak to it gently. I'll help you. I'm your friend, you say. This will be okay. And you hope you're right about that. You carefully open the trap. The unicorn's leg is badly injured, and silvery blood puddles in the snow. As you tenderly pat the unicorn to console it, you notice the tears have a silvery glow. If it weren't winter, you could look for spider webs and yarrow leaves to apply to the unicorn's wound. Now you know the best you can hope for is getting the unicorn to Marie Claire. She is known for her herbs and healing. If you try to help the unicorn up, but it whinnies in pain. It can't even stand, never mind walk. As gently as you can, you hoist the unicorn onto your back. Oh my god.
What the fuck? How the fuck? Are you a goddamn superhuman? That's a full fucking horse.
Oh, it's a baby.
Oh, that's still a full fucking horse.
Yeah. Well, they kind of described the one in the first book as not being, like, it's vaguely horse-shaped, but it's not as big as a horse. They're kind of spindly. But still.
Okay.
But still, yeah.
I want you to pick up a mini pony.
I can...
Right now. Pick one up.
Okay. I'll give it a piggy...
Find a mini pony, pick it up.
I'll give it a piggyback ride.
God damn. What the fuck, Deborah?
You crazy little kid. As gently as you can, you hoist the unicorn onto your back, then take a few staggering steps. This unicorn is young, but it's still bigger and heavier than any dog you've ever seen. Carrying it back towards the village exhausts you. While you trudge through the snow, you remember the unicorn's silver blood and silver tears. Even though its fur is white, could this be a silver unicorn? You look over your shoulder at its eyes. They're pale gray, just how silver looks. Just how silver does a unicorn have to be to satisfy the Warlock, you wonder? By the time you reach Marie Claire's cottage, you are panting and drenched in sweat, but at least the unicorn has stopped crying. When Marie Claire opens the door, her jaw drops. She ushers you inside and helps you lay the injured unicorn on her bed. You wash the wound while she mixes healing herbs. Then she sets the bone and bandages the unicorn's leg. "Did you notice the silver blood?" you ask Marie Claire. "Do you think the unicorn will grow up to be a silver unicorn?" At first, Marie Claire doesn't answer. She examines the unicorn's eyes and fingers its mane and tail. "All unicorns have silver blood and silver tears as well, but this one does have strands of silver hair. Also those pale gray eyes. I don't know if it is the child of one silver unicorn parent, or if this is what a silver unicorn looks like when it's young." The young unicorn is sleeping peacefully. You tenderly stroke its head. In a few days, once the unicorn is in better shape, I could bring it to the Warlock, you tell Marie Claire. He might think it's silver enough. You could. Even though unicorns heal much more quickly than we do, it will still be a few days until this one can walk. You could also see if you could find this unicorn's parents. At least one of them might be silver. You feel torn. On one hand, you hate the idea of giving a young unicorn to the Warlock. Yet, on the other, you know you'd prefer to spend the next few days at the bedside of this unicorn, rather than out in the cold looking for a grown silver unicorn. If you decide to stay with this unicorn until it's well enough to take to the Warlock, turn to page 58. If you decide to return to the forest and look for a silver unicorn, turn to page 129.
I mean, why don't we just get rid of the whole unicorn population? Just give all of them to the Warlock. One of them has to be silver enough. No, let's try to find another unicorn. Okay. Because, what's worse, giving a full-grown adult unicorn to the...
I mean, it could just kill him, so...
Yeah, we want one that can gore, if possible.
Okay, so page 129. You sigh and say, "I'll look for the unicorn's parents first thing tomorrow." "Do it now," Marie Claire tells you, while the scent of the young unicorn is still on you. In fact, rub your hands over the unicorn's body. If you smell like its child, you might attract the parents. Much as you hate the idea of going right back into the snowy forest, you know Marie Claire is probably right. Smelling like a young unicorn yourself, you return to the birch grove where you first heard the unicorn crying. You look around and continue to the trap. You crouch down and touch the silver blood frozen in the snow, and wonder how the injured unicorn is doing. Will it be awake when you get back? Will Marie Claire feed it? What will Marie Claire feed it? You are straightening your legs to stand when something leaps onto your back and shoves your face into the snow. You hear a terrible snarl and feel teeth at the back of your neck. Your last thought is the realization that the scent of the young unicorn didn't attract its parents. It attracted a wolf. The end.
I like the thing that you did. You messed up. Where it'd be like, "Will Marie Claire feed it?" Nah, she ain't. She's gonna let it just atrophy and starve.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks that you died by a wolf, but that's not the worst death.
It'll be quick.
You could have the last sensation you've ever felt, you being ripped apart by a lavender tornado.
True. Damn. Alright, so if we decide to go the other way, you stay by the young unicorn's side as it recovers. Marie Claire takes an herbal broth to speed up the healing. You spoon it gently into the unicorn's mouth. You sing lullabies and comb its mane. When you touch the unicorn, it makes a sweet purring sound, just like a kitten's. You're falling in love with that creature, Marie Claire warns. How are you ever going to give it to the Warlock? You know she's right, but it's too late. You already love the unicorn with your entire heart. After a few days, the unicorn is able to stand, and the next morning, Marie Claire announces it will be able to walk to the Warlock's cottage. For you, it's heartbreaking news. Marie Claire hugs you and whispers, "This might be the hardest thing you've ever had to do. Be brave and know you're saving the village." She ties a leash around the unicorn's neck and hands the other end to you. You're crying as you lead the young unicorn out of Marie Claire's cottage, through the village and into the forest. Your sobs fill the snowy silence of the woods. When you stop and make sure the unicorn is okay, you notice silver tears dripping from its face. Does the unicorn know what's going to happen, or is it crying in sympathy with you? When you reach the ruins of the stone cottage, where the Warlock is said to live, you shout, "Warlock! Warlock! I have a silver unicorn for you." Your voice is choked with tears. The Warlock scrambles out of what looks like a pile of rocks. I love him. He's just sleeping in a pile of rocks. It's so funny.
He's like, what's going on?
He's like on all fours. The Warlock scrambles out of what looks like a pile of rocks. He blinks his red eyes and gazes at the unicorn. "It's not really silver," he comments. Hope fills your heart. Maybe he won't want this unicorn after all. The Warlock comes closer to touch the unicorn's mane, and the creature flinches. "It's sort of silvery," he says. He uses 2 fingers to widen one eye of the frightened unicorn. "I suppose these eyes might turn silver?" You will yourself to say, "This is what a silver unicorn looks like when it's young. It will get more silvery with age." Of course you have no idea if that's true. The Warlock nods and takes the rope from your hand. You squeeze your eyes shut to stop your tears, and you say, "End the winter. End it now." The Warlock loops the leash around his wrist, and then begins clapping his hands so quickly that you can barely catch the rhythm. Then you realize the rhythm is so strange and complicated that it's more like a language than music. By the time he stops, snow has melted around your boots. You feel warm enough to pull off your hat and use it to wipe your tears. When you hug the unicorn goodbye, you start crying all over again. "Please take very good care of this creature," you beg the Warlock.
I'm not. I'm going to eat it right here in front of you.
The unicorn makes a heart-wrenching sob as you turn away and walk home. The next few days are busy with preparing the soil and planting spring crops, but you feel nothing but sadness. The villagers thank you for ending winter, and you try to smile, but your heart is broken. You can't stop thinking about the young unicorn. About a week later, you can't stand it anymore. Without telling anyone, you leave the village at sunrise and head towards the Warlock's home. What a different walk this is now. The snow is gone, and the ground is soggy. Leaves are just beginning to unfurl, and songbirds are singing of love. You are too glum to even notice. You reach the clearing, where you remember leaving the unicorn with the Warlock. But it's different, and for a moment you wonder if you've come to the right place. The ruins have been reassembled into a stone cottage, with wildflowers already blooming by the door. When you peer in a window, you see piles of fresh hay. Could this be a stable for the unicorn, you wonder? The sound of a lilting song catches your attention. The Warlock saunters around the corner of the cottage with his arm draped affectionately over the young unicorn. He stops and sees you. "What are you doing here? Did you come to steal my unicorn back?" He hugs the unicorn protectively, and to your surprise, the unicorn nuzzles his face. No, you insist. I just want to make sure the unicorn's okay." The Warlock grins. "Well, have a look." The unicorn glows with vitality. Its coat has a silvery sheen, and the Warlock places a small wreath of wildflowers around its horn. When you reach your hand towards the unicorn, it shyly turns its head to the Warlock's chest. You can't help but feeling a little jealous that the unicorn seems to have forgotten you and is now so attached to the Warlock. "I'm not sure it's really a silver unicorn," he tells you. But I don't care. This little unicorn has changed my life. Look, I built it a stable. I made wildflowers grow here, so there is plenty of fresh, sweet food. He kisses the unicorn's forehead, and the creature whinnies with delight. All right, you say, and force yourself to smile. I can see you two are doing just fine together. You wave goodbye and walk home. You try to enjoy the sunshine on your shoulders, but you fight back tears the entire way. Back in the village, you find Marie Claire poking seeds into her garden. She takes one look at you and opens her arms for a hug. Between sobs, you tell her about the Warlock and the unicorn. I know I got the Warlock to end winter, and I know the young unicorn has a good home, you say, but I'm so sad about losing the unicorn. Marie Claire pats your back and says, You need a new adventure. I have an idea. You start to smile. The end.
You should find a gold unicorn now.
Aw, I love that he loves the unicorn. That's so sweet.
The Warlock just needed some friends and a support system to not be, as miserable. I'm not gonna forgive him for all this other shit he's done, but I feel like he can atone. I feel like he just needed to be shown there's another way.
Yeah. Oh.
But, that being said, what I thought he was going to do was, I thought he was going to be like this.
Up yours, welcome mornings. We'll see who cancels who.
Oh my god.
I thought he was just gonna I'd be like, fuck you. And then, no, but I am.
That's very cute.
Oh, I forgot. Wait, what's this one? I forgot what this one is.
Knock, knock, motherfucker. It's the United States of America, and I hear you guys got oil that isn't under my possession. So turn off the stove and return the oil to me before I have to resort to bringing democracy.
I forgot what that one was. I for a moment, I thought it was knock, knock, autism. But no, it wasn't.
Butter.
Oh, okay. But
oh fuck, it's so funny.
Yeah, no, for real, that Warlock just needed some friends.
He just needed a little friend.
Yeah.
Oh. I built it a stable and it has lots of food, and I love it.
It's like when you're grumpy. It's like when a grumpy dad gets a cat he didn't want.
Oh my god!
It's just
yeah.
It's like I built it a house in a tree.
Yeah.
Also, it looked a little cold the other day, so I bought a little dress. I still don't like it, but you know.
Oh my god, that's my dad. Every time we bring home a cat, he's like, "We don't need another cat," and I'm like, "You're lying," and I know you are.
There's this one TikTok account that is slowly just becoming a TikTok account about her mom falling in love with her cats and dressing them up.
Oh,
and just
I've
being
seen that. Yes.
Just like my mom and the cat she didn't want.
Yeah. Because they're Latina, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yep, I've seen that one. It's really good.
That's like it's a happy ever seen Abuela.
I know.
Before.
She has the cat in like her little quinceañera dress. So cute.
But yeah, I'm glad that they get along. And there's no. I'm sure there's not going to be a horrifying ending if we go to other endings.
Yeah. So we explored the two endings from there. The other path we could have taken is instead of going towards the crying sound, we could have followed the silvery birds. Yeah,
which would lead to a silver unicorn.
Yeah, obviously. So if instead we decided to follow the silver birds, as you follow the silver birds, you try not to think about the cries of pain you're leaving behind. The birds are flying faster than you can stumble through the snow. Even though you move as quickly as you can, you worry that you'll lose track of them. You're panting with exhaustion when the birds finally land on a tree, but not an ordinary winter bear tree. This one has a remarkably silver trunk and glistening branches. You pull off a mitten to run your palm against it. The trunk even smells metallic. It's true that you're not familiar with every tree in the forest outside your village, but how is it possible you've never seen this one? Why haven't your neighbors ever spoken of a silver tree? You examine it closely. The trunk has a vertical opening that's almost your height. As you trace the edges with your finger, you notice a bit of torn purple silk snagged on the wood. Could this be where the sorceress lives now? Purple is her color, and none of the villagers can afford clothing like that. Sorceress? You call into the opening. Sorceress, are you there? The only response is the slight, tiny echo of your voice. Still, you can't help thinking the sorceress has something to do with this tree. You might be able to squeeze inside the opening. What would you find inside? Would it lead to the sorceress's home? As you think about that possibility, the chattering of silver birds make you look up to the boughs. Could those branches be solid silver? If so, each branch is worth a fortune. You don't have any way of cutting an entire branch off. But what if you snapped off the smallest twigs? Even a handful of silver twigs would make it possible for you to buy food for yourself and Marie Claire. There's not a lot of food left in the village, but it's enough silver you could travel to Bruges. Surely there's food in the city you could buy and bring back. You're excited. You feel like you have two promising possibilities. Should you try to step inside the tree and see if it leads to the sorceress's home, or try to break off silver twigs from the tree? If you climb inside the tree, turn to page 95. If you decide to snap off the smallest silver branches, turn to page 98.
Okay, first question. Is there a shape of something that would be associated with a holiday on it?
No, it's just a hole in a tree.
Is it the purple? The purple fabric means this is a Mardi Gras tree. So let's go. Let's go.
Let's go inside. So if we climb inside, it's page 95. Squeezing inside the tree is going to be very tight fit. You start by taking off your shawl to make yourself a little smaller. Reach one arm inside and then cram your shoulder in. Putting one leg in is easy, but getting your hip in takes a lot of wriggling. To make the rest of your torso fit, you first exhale all the air out of your lungs, then shimmy more of your chest in. Your tunic snags on the edge of the opening. With this much of your chest squeezed into the tree, you can only take shallow breaths. You try to wiggle more of your body in, but suddenly you realize you're stuck. A wave of panic...
Oh, I'm getting flashbacks to the spelunking videos.
A wave of panic washes over you. Maybe this wasn't a good idea after all. You try to remove yourself from the tree, but you can't budge it in either direction. You decide to free yourself by squirming out of your clothing. You struggle to pull yourself free of your tunic, but you can't even manage that. Now you shout for help. The metal tree is icy cold, and your shawl is lying on the ground. Your tears freeze to your face, and your fingers go numb. Years later, when people find this tree, they're amazed to see what appears to be a silver statue of somebody emerging from the tree. They wonder who the artist was, not realizing it was your death. The end.
Oh, it's like whenever they found your bodies that like hundreds of years later, and they were just like, "Wonder what happened to this one when you fell into a pit on the first one."
Yeah. Yep.
I love it when they like go to do like a long zoom out to be like, "Yeah, hundreds of years in the future, like your fuck up is still known."
They know what you did. You can't hide. So if
you did live forever, and you did live forever in the minds of people, but it was because you were making a dumb face while trying to escape and returning silver.
I like that. Alright, so if we decide to climb the tree and break off some twigs instead... You've never climbed a metal tree before, and it's not that easy. The silver bark is both freezing and slippery. You scramble up a few inches, only to slide down again. You try jumping to grab the lowest bough, but it's too high. Finally, you get the idea to use your shawl. You hold one end with your right hand and wrap the shawl around the tree and grasp the other end with your left hand. You lean back and slowly, gingerly step your way up the trunk to the lowest branch. As you straddle the bough, you feel victorious. You try breaking off a small branch, but it only bends a little. It doesn't snap off. Next, you try a thinner twig. That bends more easily, but still remains attached to the tree. You're going to have to use all your strength. You brace your feet on the branch and grab the skinniest twig. You pull with all your might and tumble off the tree. You crash into the ground, and you hear a snap. There's a blinding flash of pain. To your horror, you can see a bit of bone sticking out of your leg. You shout for help.
Fucking hell! God damn it, Deborah Goodman, stop it!
You shout for help until your voice is hoarse, and then it's clear that only the silvery birds can hear you. You know that you have to get home by yourself. You try standing, but immediately collapse, and your leg hurts worse than before. If you can't walk, you'll have to drag yourself home. You reach your arms towards the snow and pull yourself a few inches. Each movement is excruciating, and your progress is very slow. The sun sets, and the wolves start to howl. You're too cold and exhausted to continue. You curl up in the snow and pull your shawl over your head. That's how the sorceress finds you the next morning. But it's too late. Even she can't bring the dead back to life. The end. You fucking died.
Just once I want Deborah Goodman to not fucking traumatize me. Just once.
Too late. Too bad.
One of the reasons, I don't know if I ever told you specifically, but, I remember reading at a very young age. Actually, it might have also been related to why I am obsessed with cannibalism. Just, the description of almost dying in the cult.
Oh, yes.
It sends shivers down my spine.
There's a reason why the top 3 ways I would never want to die, one of them is dying in on an alpine mountain in winter.
I don't...
Like, the idea of it being so cold that even breathing freezes your lungs and you end up drowning in your own blood. No thank you.
I don't understand why people want to live in places where it clearly wants to kill you at all times.
Oh, yeah.
I don't understand it.
It doesn't even get that cold here.
They have to deal with snow, but, you're not dealing with, instantly freezing water.
And we are about, 3,000 feet above sea level, but it's still not that bad. We're not alpine. That would be, some of those places in Colorado where they're, 5,000 to 10,000 feet above sea level. That's alpine. And it gets real cold there. Yeah, I can't imagine. Alright, so that's the end of that tree. That was a very short one. So, if we decide to go the other way, we would be asking the Duke for a silver unicorn. Okay. I'm going to see if the Duke has a silver unicorn, you announce. Marie Claire blows her freezing hands, and you realize her own fingers are numb with cold, too. If he has a silver unicorn, are you going to beg him to let you have it, or try and steal it? She asks. As usual, Marie Claire is one step ahead of you. If I begged the Duke for a silver unicorn, do you think he'd give it up? Marie Claire pauses to think. Of course, I've never met him, so I can't really say what kind of a person he is. What I do feel certain about is that the Duke is not suffering as much as we are. He surely has reserves of food and plenty of firewood. A silver unicorn must be very valuable, so he won't hand it over without a lot of persuasion. She smiles at you warmly. I must say, you are very good at persuasion. It's possible the Duke would listen to you. You're right. Yeah.
I don't know if Marie Claire is just being nice to you, but you seem to die a lot for someone who tries to convince people to do stuff for you.
Yeah, you did straight up be like, hey, Warlock, follow me into the woods. And he was like, he's just lonely. He was like, okay.
Yeah, he's just lonely. Also, he knows he can kill you with just a couple of claps. So.
It's true. You're right that no one would be quick to give up a silver unicorn, you reply. It might be easier just to steal it. A silver unicorn is not something you can just sneak into your pocket, Marie Claire points out. No, but I could ride the unicorn away. Marie Claire sighs. Without anyone seeing you? Everyone has an eye out for a silver unicorn. How do you think you can just ride away unnoticed? At night, you suggest? Anything involving the Duke is going to be tricky, says Marie Claire. Whether you choose to beg for the silver unicorn or just steal one, you'll need to be very clever. If you decide to beg for the silver unicorn, turn to page 20. If you decide to steal it, turn to page 24.
I guess let's try to beg first.
Okay. Page 20. I jumped way ahead. I'm going to tell the Duke how desperately we are and how badly we need the silver unicorn. I'm going to beg, you tell Marie Claire. People say he's not unkind, she replies. I hope he listens to you. In the winter, the fastest route to the Duke's castle is the frozen river. So you get your skates and head to the shore. Half the villagers seem to be on the ice already. Because nothing can grow, many of your neighbors have cut holes in the ice and are fishing. You carefully skate around them. Skating is your favorite thing about winter. As you glide towards the castle, you almost forget your empty stomach. You extend your arms and imagine you are flying along the ice. You have never been to the Duke's castle before, and it's farther than you expected. When you finally reach it, you discover it's also much larger than you expected. You hide your skates in the bushes by the riverbank and approach the guards standing by the entrance of the castle walls. "I'd like to speak to the Duke, please," you tell them. He needs to know how this unending winter is causing the villagers to starve. The Warlock wants a silver unicorn, and if the Duke has one, he really should give it to the Warlock so we can all have spring. The guard smiles at you with amusement. "As it happens," one guard replies, "the Duke is well aware of the problem. He's not here now because he's gone to find a silver unicorn." "Oh, that's wonderful news," you exclaim. And the other guard says, "I'm not so sure it is. The Duke has been gone for a month already. If it were easy to get a silver unicorn, he'd be back by now." Oh, at that moment you decide you'll search for a silver unicorn too. On your own. You know your neighbors have searched the forest near your village, but maybe there's one hiding in the forest here. You say goodbye to the guards and enter the woods, besides the castle walls. There's no path, so you're walking through the snow is slow and awkward. Your boots are wet and your feet are cold. Your teeth start to chatter. There's a flash of red between the trees and a fox appears. You stop to look at it. The fox fearlessly gazes back at you. You know foxes can be very tricky, but you've still never heard of them attacking a person. Still, there's no one else around, and you don't have any way to defend yourself. Your heart starts to pound. The fox barks at you, and for some reason it sounds like, "Why?" "I'm looking for a silver unicorn," you reply. The fox barks again and chases its tail in a circle. When it barks a third time, it sounds like, "Come." "Come with you," you ask? "You know where there's a silver unicorn?" The fox barks once more and takes a small leap into the air. You hesitate. Everyone knows that foxes are tricksters. Also, this fox is even speaking, or are you desperate enough to imagine it sparks into our words? Yet you remind yourself that you have no other clues, and are really just wandering in the forest, hoping to find a silver unicorn. Maybe you should follow the fox. If you decide to turn away from the fox, turn to page 49. If you step towards the fox, turn to page 71.
Let's hope that this is more of a Japanese style of fox instead of a European style.
Or Korean, where they just murder you.
Yeah, let's follow it.
Okay, so page 71. There's also a very cute illustration of the fox chasing its tail. Alright, so page 71. "I'm coming," you tell the fox. The creature turns and scampers deeper into the forest. With each of your footsteps sinking into the snow, it's impossible to keep up with the fox. However, whenever you're lost, you spot some red and realize the fox is waiting for you. As the sky darkens, the fox slows its pace. You're starting to wonder how you will spend the night in a freezing forest when the fox stops outside a burrow in the snow. The fox barks, and it sounds like, "In." You peer into the hole and see a tunnel. No, you reply. "This looks like a trap. I'm not going in first." The fox swishes its tail, enters the burrow, and disappears. You feel certain there's no silver unicorn in that tunnel, but it might at least be a warm place for you to spend the night. Even though this makes you very nervous, you scramble in onto your hands and knees and crawl into the burrow. It's too dark to see anything. The tunnel has a sharp, tingy smell of fox. You crawl until your hand brushes fox fur, and you hear a high-pitched yelp. Sitting back on your heels, you realize you come to a larger space. A fox den. As your eyes adjust to the darkness, you see 6 pairs of eyes. 5 of them are small. You reach out a hand, and your fingers find the ears of a baby fox. You watch its eyes blink, and then you scratch the fox kit's head. You hear purring, just like a cat's. You pick up the kit and hold it to your chest, and then with your other arm bring a second fox kit to you. A third curls around your knees, and you're feeling warm and cozy. Even though you still haven't found a silver unicorn, you're so glad you followed the fox into its den. You yawn and feel your body relax. You lie down with 5 fox kits cuddled around you. The adult fox curls against your back. It's like a sleeping It's like sleeping draped in furs. Almost immediately, you fall into a dreamless sleep. You have no idea how long you sleep. You awake to fox kits prodding your belly. Now it's so much easier to see the fox den, almost as if candles have been lit. You can look carefully at the cute baby foxes for the first time. You move your arm to stretch to reach for one, and you are astonished to see that your arm has become a fox leg. What? You yell, and the sound is the screech of a fox. When the adult fox barks back, you understand perfectly that the mother fox was killed by a hunter, and these babies need a mom. But I'm not a fox. You are now, the fox replies. Once you sleep in a fox den, you become a fox. Everyone knows that. You didn't. Even though you never expected to become a fox, you've got 5 kits desperate for your care. And suddenly you love them. Turns out, foxes don't think about silver unicorns at all. The end.
You know, I think that's more of an upgrade than anything.
Yeah.
Being a human, kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
There's also a very cute illustration of the main character sleeping in a pile of baby foxes.
Aw.
Yeah.
Aw.
Alright, so if we decide to not go with the fox, to turn away, the fox barks again as you pivot away from it. You're not going to be tricked by a fox. You walk through the silent forest without any clear direction. As the woods grow dark and shadowy, you realize you should turn back and follow your footsteps to the castle. Surely the guards would at least let you sleep in the courtyard tonight. The only trouble is, you've misjudged how long it takes to reach the castle. Under the black and moonless sky, you can't see your footprints anymore. You're going to have to spend the night in the forest. You drag some fallen limbs to the base of a large tree. They probably won't keep you warm, but they at least provide a sense of shelter. You burrow into the snow beneath them, knowing this will probably be the worst night of your life. In fact, it could be the last night of your life. Your hands and feet are stinging with cold. Soon you can't feel your nose. You curl into a tight ball and stick your hands into opposite armpits. Your teeth chatter and every muscle tightens. Despite this, you feel yourself drifting into sleep, or maybe to death. At some point, you sense a mass of heat along your back. Something warm and moist moves across your cheeks. A horse. No, it's a unicorn. It's licking your face. Am I dead or am I dreaming, you wonder, and you close your eyes. You're dreaming, and it's the final dream of your young life. The end. Well, that's depressing.
Yeah, it's depressing.
I'd much rather have turned into a fox. Okay. So we gotta go all the way back if we decide to steal the unicorn instead. So that is page 24. Oops. Okay. I'm going to steal the Duke's silver unicorn. If he has one, you reply. I think I'd better have help for that, so I'm going to ask Wyatt's to come with me. Marie Claire raises one eyebrow. That boy is nothing but trouble, so he should be good at stealing. Marie Claire, Wyatt's is my best friend, you exclaim. But you're right, he is good at stealing. he is a little thief. You say goodbye to Marie Claire and return to your own cottage to grab your skates. With the river frozen and the roads icy with packed snow, skating along the river will be the fastest way to the Duke's castle. On the way to the river, you stop by Wyatt's cottage. You find him shoveling a clearing for his 3 cats. As soon as you ask him to join you in stealing the silver unicorn, he drops his shovel and shouts, "Yes, let me get my skates!" He's like, "Fuck yeah!" I love stealing from rich people.
That's my favorite thing.
A few minutes later, the two of you are gliding along the river. The cold air reddens your cheeks, but the rest of you warms up quickly. Lots of other villagers are on the frozen river, too. Some have cut holes in the ice and are fishing. Others are pulling small sleds towards neighboring villages, maybe sharing food or hoping to barter for some. Small kids are just sliding around on their bottoms. You grin at Wyatt's and challenge him to a race. Your skates are faster than you've ever gone before until you see the high walls of a castle rising on the river banks. Even though you've heard about the Duke's castle, this is the first time you're seeing it, and the size makes you skid to a stop. This is bigger than our church, you exclaim. It's the biggest building I've ever seen, Wyatt agrees. I don't know how we're going to sneak in. You take his hand and say, "Let's investigate." The two of you hide your skates in some bushes, then head up a path towards the entrance. You're so excited that you break into a light-hearted skip, and it makes you stumble in the snow. As you regain your balance, you see 2 guards posted at either side of an opening in the massive wall surrounding the castle. "We could say we're new servants," you suggest to Wyatt. "That's a great idea," says Wyatt. "Let's go." You politely introduce yourselves to the 2 guards as new servants. They must not think you two look suspicious because they wave you into a courtyard without a single question. This place is bustling with activity. Steam rises from the laundry that servants are scrubbing. Other servants are chopping wood. Children are playing with balls and hoops. No one looks hungry. You and Whites eye each other with excitement. You take each other's hand and proceed into the castle. Your footsteps echo in the grand hall. Unlike the courtyard, there's no one there, so you take your time to admire the paintings of finely dressed people that line the corridor. You run your hand along elaborately carved trunks. Then something shiny catches your eye. It's a display cabinet full of silver animals, each the size of a robin. There's a silver horse, a fox, a pheasant, strange animal with huge ears and a snake-like nose, and a unicorn. White grins at you mischievously. You know what he's thinking. "No, don't," you warn, stepping away from the cabinet of silver statues. You move behind a giant shield. White snatches the silver unicorn and tucks it into his pocket. He turns to you victoriously. Suddenly, a servant pins Whites to the wall and shouts, "Thief! Thief!" Where did this person even come from, you wonder? You crouch behind the shield as more servants scurry over. A guard smacks Wyatt across the face, then rummages through his pockets. "You're off to the dungeon until the Duke can decide what to do with you," another guard announces. He grabs Wyatt by the arm and starts to drag him away. An elegant woman draped with velvet and furs strides up, and the crowd of servants parts. "He's just a boy," she says. "Look how thin he is." Wyatt's trembling with fear. His face is turned to the ground.
I'm sorry, but...
Hey, come on, I'm just a little guy.
Yep. That's it. Okay. "I beg your pardon, Duchess," he mumbles. "Let him go," she says, "but make sure he doesn't return." Guards grab each of Wyatt's arms and lead him away. You look around anxiously. No one has seen you. Should you follow Wyatt's or stay? If you leave with Wyatt's, turn to page 40. If you remain in the castle, turn to page 55.
Remain?
Okay, so page 55. Okay. You gaze at Wyatt's until he's gone. Your heart is pounding as you emerge from behind the shields and approach the woman. Wyatt's called her Duchess, but is she? Bowing your head, you say, "I'm the new servant. I'm not sure where to go." The woman lifts your chin with her finger and studies your face, but you try to appear calm. "What work were you hired for?" she asks. You can't believe that you have a choice. You have to think quickly. The work you are best at, and which you enjoy most, is sewing. That would keep you indoors and give you a chance to explore the castle. However, if there is a real silver unicorn, it would not just be a small statue. Working in the stable would give you the best access to the creature. If you say, "I'm known for my needlework," turn to page 83. If you say, "I'm meant to work in the stable," turn to page 96.
Let's do, the needlework.
Okay. "You're here to sew," asks the servant. "Come with me." She leads you through the castle. She introduces herself as Nan, the head seamstress. "I can see you're cold and you must be hungry. Let's get you some hot soup before you start sewing." You follow Nan into a kitchen with steaming pots and the sounds of several servants chopping vegetables. They glance at you with curiosity. Nan introduces you and ladles a bowl of soup. You wrap your numb fingers around the warm bowl. For a moment, you forget about the silver unicorn, forget about Wyatt's, and you think about how you would be very happy to live in this castle and sew. Your heart slows as you gratefully drink the soup. When you're finished, Nan takes you to a narrow room lined with windows. Several women and girls are bent over, they're stitching, and look up to welcome you. "You'll start by hemming the new bed linens," says Nan, "and then I'll see how you do." You nod and head, take a needle, and get to work. Even though this is the most boring, undemanding sewing possible, you take tiny stitches. Each one is perfect. You understand that unless you impress Nan, you'll be hemming bed linens for a long time. When you finish, Nan inspects your work. "Quite nice," she exclaims. how you are at fitting dresses. You gulp, because no one in the village wears fancy clothes. You have no experience with that at all. Actually, you tell her, embroidery is my specialty. She raises her eyebrows. All right, embroider the pillowcases. Let me see your best work. She hands you a basket filled with the spools of silk's thread. You rummage through, admiring the jewel-like colors, and are surprised to discover there's silver thread you've never seen before. Even though all the unicorns you've ever encountered have been white, the bright silk thread inspires you to embroider a rainbow parade of unicorns, each with a silver horn. Some of the unicorns are prancing, others are standing on their hind legs. Every now and then you create a unicorn with tiny wings. The hours pass until candles are lit, and you have to squint to see the smallest stitches. Nan holds up your embroidery near the flame and gasps. This is spectacular! No wonder the Duke sent for you to work here. You try to appear modest, but you're bursting with pride. Of course you won't tell her the Duke didn't hire you. Tomorrow, says Nan, you'll finish the pillowcases, and then you'll embroider a new vest we're making for the Duke's return. That night, though you're just a servant, you receive a bigger meal than you've eaten since the winter solstice. You sleep under heavy woolen blankets in a room warmed by the breath of the other seamstresses. Your dreams are full of unicorns, but not one is silver. The next afternoon, Nan brings you a deep blue vest. It is already trimmed with a silver braid. The Duke has been gone for a month already, she explains. The Duchess wants a special gift for when he finally returns. Do you have a design in mind, or shall I suggest one? You touch the silk. It's so fine that it seems to melt under your fingers. What do you think about this herd of silver unicorns galloping from one side and down the other? Nan claps her hands with delight. He'll love that. Just one thing, you say. I've never actually seen a silver unicorn. If the Duke has one, it would help me to see it first, so I can get the shape right. Nan rolls her eyes. Oh, please, you just embroidered dozens of unicorns on the pillowcases. Silver unicorns look just like regular unicorns, except their color. Now start working. The Duke could come home any day. We want you to be ready. You are about to ask Nan how she knows what silver unicorn looks like, but she looks at you impatiently and gestures towards the basket of thread. Your work is precise but quick. You empty your mind, and all that you think about is every stitch you're taking. When Nan announces that the day is over, it's time to eat, you look up with surprise. As the days pass, the vest becomes more and more glorious. Even the Duchess comes in to admire it. The vest is nearly done. There are 108 unicorns you count. When you get an idea, what if you brought this silver unicorn-covered vest to the Warlock? Surely over 100 tiny silver unicorns would delight him enough to end winter. On the other hand, you still haven't found out if there's a silver unicorn in the Duke's stable. As much as you've enjoyed embroidering unicorns, you remind yourself that you really need to find one, or else satisfy the Warlock with something else. If you take the unicorn-covered vest to the Warlock, turn to page 101. If you stay to investigate the stable, turn to page 106.
Let's investigate the stable.
Okay. 106. Sorry, one sec. Gotta stretch my leg. I'm squished in here. I have an orange boy, and he's asleep, and I don't want to wake him up. Okay. 106. Okay. You have to look at the stable, so as soon as the vest is finished, you tell Nan, Phew, I've got a blinding headache. Please, can I rest until I feel better? Of course, she replies with sweet concern. You poured your heart into this magnificent work. Take the rest of the day off. Instead of resting, you head to the stable. There you introduce yourself to Joseph, the stable master. Oh, I've heard about your nimble fingers, he says with delight. When the Duke gets home, he'll be delighted at the vest you've embroidered. You can't believe the word of your skills has even reached the stable. Tell me, you say, does the Duke have a silver unicorn? No, Joseph replies, and that's exactly what he's gone looking for. I'm sure you've heard how the Warlock won't end winter until he receives a silver unicorn. The Duke is prepared to spend half his fortune to buy such a creature. Before you can comment, you and Joseph both turn to the sound of horses approaching. The riders are dressed in furs, and one carries a flag. Joseph drops to one knee and bows his head to one of the men. Your Grace, he says, this is the Duke? You drop quickly to one knee as well. Joseph, says the finely dressed of the riders, I've had no luck at all finding a silver unicorn. But look, I did bring back a regular one. He gestures to a small unicorn, tied to one of the horses. Maybe we can figure a way to make it appear silver. I have an idea, you exclaim. The Duke notices you for the first time. And you are, he asks. I'm the new needleworker. And one with amazing skills, adds Joseph. There's lots of silver thread in the sewing room. I could crochet a silver jacket for the unicorn. It wouldn't be a real silver unicorn, but it might be enough to satisfy the Warlock. We have nothing to lose, says the Duke. Get to work. You hurry back to the sewing room, breathless with excitement. You start crocheting a silver hood for the unicorn, while the other seamstresses work on silver leggings. Nan herself crochets the main jacket. It's your tiny stitching that connects all the pieces together. Turn to page 116. When it's finished, you and the other seamstresses parade through the castle to the stable. You've never dressed a unicorn before, and it's not easy to slide hooves through the delicate silver leggings. When the silver garment finally covers the unicorn, you say, "Wait, one more thing." You carefully wrap silver thread around the horn from top to bottom. This is excellent, the Duke exclaims. I'll take it to the Warlock right now. You return to the sewing room, but the suspense makes it hard to focus on your stitches when you hear a drip, drip, drip. The snow is melting, Nan exclaims. I think the Warlock is satisfied. Turning to you, she says, thanks to your clever thinking, we'll finally have spring. How lucky we are to have you here. Then it hits you. Now that spring is starting, should you go back to your village? If you're going to skate home, there's no time to waste before the river thaws. On the other hand, working in the castle has been wonderful. It's warm and there's enough food. The work is easier than farming and 1,000,000 times more fun. But then you remember Marie Claire, Wyatt's, and everyone you love in the village. If you decide to return to the village, turn to page 121. If you choose to remain at the castle, turn to page 128.
You can just remain in the castle and have a clearly better life.
I agree. Your life at the castle is very comfortable. Now that you're known as the best needleworker, your responsibility to sew exclusively for the Duchess. You create exquisite dresses and embroider tiny silver unicorns on her shoes. Every now and then you return to your village to see your friends. While you're always happy to see them, you don't miss farming at all. You hurry back to the castle, grateful to take up the needle again. You've found your calling. The end. That's nice.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say, fuck that village. Just in general, just fuck that village. It's not great. First off, it sounds like a bad place to live. The only people who seem to like you at all is Marie Claire, and I feel like you might get enough clout to be like, hey, I have an elderly relative that I would like to take care of, but she lives so far away.
Oh, yeah.
You think we could break, I feel like you'd be able to just, get her a job as, I don't know, what does she do? Medicine?
Yeah.
She does medicine? Yeah. Get her a job as a medicine.
So this is if we decide to, we're just going back one choice, basically. So if we decide to, take the unicorn-covered vest to the Warlock, we get the cat ending.
Oh.
I think? Let me double-check. Oh, wait. Okay, yes. Okay. So, if we decide to steal the vest, well, I mean, you made it. Whatever. Getting the vest out of the castle is surprisingly easy. The next day after you're taken to the final stitch on the vest, you tell Nan, I think this embroidery is perfect, but I'd like to examine it in the full sunlight, just to make sure. May I take the vest outdoors for a closer look? That's a good idea, Nan says. Take your needle and some silver thread with you in case you need to fix anything. As you carry the vest through the castle, everyone comes over to admire it. You have to admit it's your best work, and you hate the idea of giving it to the Warlock. If you stayed here, you could embroider even more beautiful things, but then you remember that your village, and maybe even all of Flanders, is waiting for your help. Once you're in the courtyard, you slip behind a wagon to change. You pull off your own tunic and shiver in the cold. Put your arms through the vest, then shimmy your own tunic back over. Of course the vest is too big for you, so you have to tuck it up with your belt. Wrap your shawl tightly around you. You know it might look a little funny, but no one stops you as you walk past the walls and out into the world of winter. You quickly find your hidden states and notice White's skates are gone. You hope he's okay. As you glide along the river, away from the castle, you remember where the Warlock was last seen. Your neighbor said he's been spending winter in the ruins of a cottage not far from the windmill. By the time you reach the mill, you're freezing. As you unstrap your skates, you remember the flasks of hot tea that were always available in the sewing room to warm fingers of the mistresses. Did you just leave the best job of your life?
Yeah.
Yeah. You put that thought out of your mind and trudge past the mill, so the ruins of the stone cottage. No one has lived there since the plague killed the last inhabitants more than a century ago. But the Warlock moved in at the start of winter. As you stand at what seems to be the entrance, it occurs to you that the vest will appear more impressive if it's not under your tunic, draped over your winter skinny body. You wriggle out of the tunic and slide your arms out of the vest and adjust your own clothing again. You are just spreading the vest on the snow so you can fold it carefully, and then suddenly the vest is yanked into the entrance. You blink with shock, not really understanding what happened. You poke your head inside. In the darkness, 2 red eyes glow. Surely this is the Warlock. You're so nervous you can hardly breathe. Never mind speak. The Warlock makes a growling noise and you flinch. You force yourself to inhale and then say, I made the vest for you. It's covered with silver unicorns. Will you please end winter now? The red eyes slowly blink. This vest is of no use to me. I'm living in what is essentially a pile of rocks, so vegetable clothing is the least of my concern. Here, you can take it back. He shoves the vest into your face. You grab the precious vest. You're not sure what to do next. It occurs to you that you haven't been gone long. There's probably time for you to skate back to the Duke's castle and tell Nan that you're fixing some tiny stitches. Remember how much you liked working there. And besides, you still haven't learned there's a silver unicorn in the stable. On the other hand, should you give up so easily? Now that you've met the Warlock, should you try to reason with him? So, we can either try and skate back to the castle, which doesn't end well. But if we try to talk to the Warlock, that's where we get the kitty cat ending.
Let's do the kitty cat ending and then we'll finish.
Why don't you come out and we can talk, you suggest to the Warlock. You certainly don't want to go inside.
You say threateningly while holding a crowbar.
A tire iron. It's too cold to come out, he grumbles. You're the one who made it so cold, you exclaim with exasperation. You can end this winter. We all know you don't live here when it's warm. And winter, move out of these ruins and you can have the beautiful unicorn-covered vest that everyone will see and admire. But I want a silver unicorn, he whines. You probably can't see in the darkness, but the vest has over 108 silver unicorns embroidered over it. Come out! I want a real silver unicorn. Are you sure silver unicorns even exist? No one has found one, you say, but then remind yourself not to show how impatient you feel. You gently ask, why do you want a silver unicorn so badly? The Warlock sighs. I just wanted a special pet, and silver is so pretty. I liked the way it shines. Does it have to be a unicorn? My friend Wyatt's has some very silvery cats. I'm sure he could give you one. The Warlock is silent. Would you like to at least see the silver cats? I could bring them here for you to look at. The Warlock snorts. Okay. You're in such a hurry that you don't bother to conceal the Duke's vest. You throw it over your own clothing and put on skates, and race back to the village. Whites is inside his cottage, playing with his 3 cats in the firelight. You have to admit that while they are a very lustrous gray, they aren't exactly silver. Quickly tell Wyatt's what's happening, and together you skate back to the Warlock, each one holding a cat. You've never skated with a cat in your arms before, and it definitely slows you down. The sun is just beginning to set when you and Wyatt reach the Warlock's home. I've got silvery cats for you to see, you call into the ruins. First a tattered hat, then a whiskered head, and then finally the rest of the Warlock emerges from the ruins. He's only a little taller than you, and you realize the vest would be too big for him. You hold out a cat, hoping it won't be scared by him. This is Rin. The Warlock reaches for the cat, and luckily Rin doesn't put up a fight. In fact, the cat nuzzles into the Warlock's beard. He strokes her back and says, She is a bit silvery. This is her sister, Dottie, says Wyatt as he offers the second cat to the Warlock. See the white dot on her forehead? That's how I can tell them apart. Dottie is just as friendly as Rin. Dottie flicks her tail across his face, and the Warlock smiles. They are very pretty, he says. Take them both, says Wyatt. You remember that his favorite cat, Shan, is still at home. The Warlock pushes the 2 cats through the entrance to the ruined cottage, then starts clapping his hands. At first you think he's just clapping because he's so happy to have the cats, but then you realize there's a weird rhythm that can't be random. Suddenly you feel too warm, and you loosen your shawl and pull your hat off. Am I getting a fever? You wonder, and Wyatt yanks his hat off too. The Warlock stops clapping. Enjoy spring, he says, and slides back into the cottage. You and Wyatt look at each other in astonishment before bursting into laughter. Come on, you say, let's skate home before the ice on the river melts. The end.
Oh. So, again, okay. I want to avoid doing the thing where someone shows a little bit of humanity and you automatically forgive them for stuff. Because I'm not forgiving the Warlock for putting so many people in thing. I'm just saying that it sounded like he was made fun of and had rocks thrown at him too many times and he realized, you know, he just sounded like he needed a friend.
Yeah.
Because, like, so many of these, like, are just ended by you being friendly or you or him having just a little, like, a fun little guy to be around.
Yeah. That's so cute.
What's the next one gonna be?
The next one
we have enough.
Is the rescue.
There's 4 of them, right?
Yep, is the rescue of the unicorn.
Oh. Okay.
Ooh.
Okay. Yeah.
This one looks interesting. All of these have like 3 distinct trees of paths, which I think is very cool. Yeah, and then the last one is the flight of the unicorn.
Flight of the unicorn.
Which is, it is shorter, it has less endings. Or not shorter, it just has less endings, I should say. So this one had 21, the first one had 27, the next one has 24, and then the Flight of the Unicorn has 16.
Okay. I will say I'm liking this series.
Yes.
Of, thing. If I find all of the space vampire ones, I will definitely do those. I need to find them first because, you know, they're not reprinted.
Yeah.
So
I know, one of the ones that Deborah Lerme Goodman did is about the Bermuda Triangle wasn't reprinted, but I would like to still read it, because
you could probably find it. Yeah. Like, you just have to spend like $15 on it. Her
other 2, The Horn of Terror and The Throne of Zeus, have both been reprinted, so they're easy to get.
I might get a better Throne of Zeus, because mine is looking rough. Speaking of, that's probably what we're going to do next when I'm reading. So
hell yeah.
Because, you know, I have it, like, within reach, so...
Yeah, and we know that this author is excellent. I love her stuff. I love her unhinged protagonist. This teenage girl with no sense of danger whatsoever.
I'm just a real fan. I'm just a real fan of when people, like, I'm a fan when people take big swings. Because so many people are cautious. I'm one of those people. I'm very cautious, but I enjoy it when someone takes a really big swing in a story, and sometimes it works.
Yeah.
An example of this is I read I think it's called 1,000 Eyes, and then what's the first one called? I don't know. It's by A.J. Larkin or something like that, but it's a duology.
Ooh.
And I don't want to spoil too much, but the first one, it's this big old long adventure of trying to, like, find this one thing. And then the second one, within the first third, the bad guy wins, and it turns into a completely different book. And I'm just like, wow, you took a big swing and it worked.
Dang.
It worked so good. So, yeah, I don't know. Take big swings with your stories. Sometimes it's fun. So sometimes a romance story should turn into a serial killer story. And I'm not talking about the dude. I'm talking about the woman who's the main lead. She's now a serial killer in the middle of this romance book. Do it.
Good for her.
Just do it. Like, maybe it's all in, like, the guise of him. Like, he's like, oh, this is a perfect girl. And, like, it's like a Manic Pixie Dream Girl type thing. And then we go over to the woman's side, and it turns out she really loves killing people. And she's been maybe killing all of his enemies, or who she perceives to be his enemies.
Yeah.
Because she also loves them.
I like it.
Yeah. Give me more of that. Also, you know, maybe, I don't know. Whatever. But yeah, this is a good book. We're gonna read more good books and some bad ones.
Oh yeah.
Some of them are gonna be bad.
Yeah.
But we're gonna do this for at least until something happens.
Yeah.
In Israel, that's good.
Yeah.
So
you know what? This is pretty fun, anyways.
it's fun. I would like to also talk about the Thunderbolts again because I miss my baby boy, my baby girl. Atlas.
Yeah, and we miss the hottest bitch of the Thunderbolts, Moonstone.
Well, I do miss it. I miss Atlas a lot. I miss being disappointed in him. So
he's so hot, but he's so dumb. It's the perfect man.
God, just love it. It's also sad all the time. Oh God, I love it. But yeah.
But yeah, remember that sometimes the warlock that lives on the edge of the village sometimes just needs a friend. Or a cat. Or a unicorn. Anyways, bye!
Bye.
Good night, Mr. the Missile.